We are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Michael here, the business loan broker expert. Happy to have you guys in. Apologize. Phone call coming in. Put it on silent. Welcome in. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. What part of the world? How's your day going? Let me know what kind of plans you have going on. And if you're watching later on the replay, please give me a hashtag replay. I have a great one for you here today. I won't spend too much time. I know sometimes they go about an hour or so. I'm going to try to keep it at best underneath 30, 20 minutes so you can get going. I can get going and doing the things that I need to get done with. But today I want to go over some of the business loan examples I'll be getting on the share screen, as well as going through some business loan applications for short-term and long-term. And before I go into the what and the how, you need to know the why. So I am someone who has been doing this for a long time. Like you, or you've been here before, working in a 9-to-5 role. I was under-promised or over-promised, and then under-delivered from certain people that weren't as helpful as I thought they would have been. Roles were changing. I was underpaid tremendously, and I couldn't move up another role. And so like many of you trying to start your own business, it can be very scary in the beginning, especially if you don't have a decent plan. You don't know exactly how these funds will translate into giving you a better return on your investment financially, as well as activity return on investment. And so like many of you, I ventured off starting my own business, and now I have multiple businesses in the digital marketing agency, affiliate marketing ventures in the health space, and other ventures. And this is my main priority, helping you receive business funding in multiple ways: personal credit, business credit. You have advances, term loans, online bank loans, lines of credit, equipment financing, real estate financing, SBA loans, and a variety of more that I will be sharing with you guys on the screen. So please stick with me until the very end of this video so you guys get to go with me and see those detail per details on those specific service and what is best in this market. Also, I'm not somebody who will overpromise and underdeliver, overwhelm you, make you feel like you are somewhat suffocating and below the surface of, well, this guy's going to pressure me. I am not like that. Like many of you, like I said, I run my own businesses. And so I'm in those trenches every single day. And I know what it is like. If you're looking at it from your end and this is your first time, well, this guy's just trying to sell me. That's not what I'm doing. I come from an academic background. I went to school. I didn't grow up in the whole sales, sleazy tactics, be a salesman type of world. Now, that's not where I come from. I've learned skill sets for marketing. I've learned them in the sales department, but I'm not going to sell you. I'm here to provide value. Now, for those of you who are serious, I really do appreciate you. For those of you who are not wasting my energy and time, I'm very diligent, punctual, and disciplined. I am very process, system, and automation oriented. I have a very systematic and mathematical mind. And so I like to be the guy behind the scenes who's pulling all the levers, who's kind of like that silent partner, making sure everything functions, everything is being iterated. But you see me on the front end, and that's might be the only way you resonate. But there's a lot of things that I'm doing on my back end to make sure you guys get the appropriate funding. So I'll be getting into the share screen in a moment here, but let me look through one of my tabs that you can't see right now. Let me go through why you should work with someone like myself outside of what I just mentioned about myself. So for Viral Funding Solutions, which is through me here, the experience. I have many years of experience, myself and my team that I vetted, the lenders, the underwriters, of running multiple businesses. And I say that so you have an understanding that I'm not here just wasting my energy and time. Now, if you're somebody who's kicking rocks, who's a tire kicker, lazy, effort seeker, none of it, I'm not saying that I'm being mean or aggressive or negative. Don't misconstrue my words. I'm just giving you tough love to wake up. Now here, I also have versatility. You'll get that versatility and flexibility with me by far. And you will always have that in the door with me and my Rolodex of people. And so you'll always have the best lenders, the best underwriters. None of those, we're getting emails after emails from lenders that I'm not associated with, or I didn't say, hey, let's get those lenders to send you all of these emails. We don't do that. We protect your privacy, your credit. So be very careful of who you accept. Have high standards. I'm not saying you got to be me up here, but just meet me where we need to. And we leave all that fluff out the door, that ego, that stubbornness, that cockiness, whatever it is you're dealing with, If that's a problem, if you have that, we leave that out the door. Now, if you don't, kudos, good job. Now here, integrity. We believe your priorities need to be met over mine, over ours, period. That's all I'll say there. There's more to this. I'll probably link you guys to down below. And then loyalty. Loyalty above everything matters to me. No more needs to be said there. If you're loyal and you're loyal with me, I'm going to go way beyond your expectations. But if you're that person who crosses, and I've had people who've done this, not always, but it happens. And then it's happened with people that I know that introduced me to a client, with my real estate investor friends and a few others, where they felt like they were backstabbed. Not by me. It's not my fault. I've worked on myself hard enough. So I'm asking of you, can I trust you? Will you be loyal? I like building that personal and business relationship with people, but it has to make sense as well how I give you my energy and time. For those of you who are always asking, can we get on a call? Is it most appropriate to? We'll go into some of these things, but now let me jump into the share screen. For those of you who are like, just get on with it. You guys need to really understand the value that I get to bring myself with my company and with my team. And I can go deeper into that, but I wanted you guys to get a quick intro. And I've also helped out a lot of businesses get funding that I might show you guys through this video as I get on the share screen. So 1 second. Where we will begin, this says here 100,000 to 30,000 business loan offers and more, in parentheses, plus 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and up to 150,000 and more. And even before I do that, let me bring this on the screen here. 1 moment. It might not, yeah, let me do this. I'll exit out of this one and we'll come back to it in a second. Let me open up a new one. I don't think that was it. I have another one opened here. Okay, there it is. No, it's not that one. Okay, here it is. So I want to show you guys very quickly. I have produced results. I still continue to produce many of them. It's not about the money to me. It's about the value and the impact that I can create for people. I literally can care less about what I make. I care more about, did you meet your needs? And not every single time will you have your needs met from the beginning. You have to, again, meet me where we need. And then you grow into more. So right here is a company that I funded not too long ago in the California area for $200,000 for their seafood restaurant company, and have since then funded and more recently. Now, I've yet to post more current fundings. I haven't been doing that a lot on my Facebook. I've been doing reels, and I get so busy, guys. So I have a lot more people that I have funded over and over, day in and day out. And those people are serious with what they want. So 200,000 there. And if you scroll here through my profile, you may see a little bit more things like, hey, we just helped out a family dentistry in Fort Worth, Texas, qualified for 84,000 or so for the ERTC, which is a program where you guys can get up to 26,000 per employee, ending in the quarters of 2024 next year, and then in 2025 of April, usually in that. Now, I won't jump too deep on that. I'll leave more information down below in time. If there's not a description yet, I will leave it there. And I'll be posting some comments here soon, but here you can see some of my video content that I produced. Perhaps you've already followed me from Facebook. And I'm not any fluff. I'm not any theory. For those of you who are commenting, has he really helped you? Has prove it. This is full of BS. Cool. It doesn't bug me if they think that. And so I have a lot of posts that I've created, and you can see people following, people sharing. You can see people commenting, and I'm in those trenches. I'll be on this later tonight as well, commenting. Perhaps soon I'll make another one. But you can see the comments. I had one recently go for over 400 or 300,000 views. I've had multiple 30, 40, 60,000. But that's not the point. The point is that there's impact. 0% interest business credit cards. We'll be covering a little bit of that when you get chased out of a bank, business loan with Chase, and you have to do this. Startup business loans. You see self-employed. You see American Express, Wells Fargo. I've talked about Chase, other cards. And there's a lot more there. So we can keep scrolling up here. This is that one that got 1.5K shares. I appreciate you guys if you were one of those. And if not, that's okay. No worries. I appreciate you guys. I'm always grateful for you for spreading the word. It is not easy for me to do video content. It is not easy. Did you hear that? It is not easy. And it is worth it for you guys to understand what you guys can get. So that's one of the posts that went over 300,000, 9.1K likes, 6.2K comments. And I've been trying to catch up on those. I still go into those. I was in there last night, actually, commenting as much as I could until Facebook says no more commenting or no more DMs, because they have like a limit on how much you can. But you can see there even more, a $500 meet and beat gift card. So here, I want to say this. For those of you who are like, well, I have an offer. Well, I'm been in this so long in my team, and we know what we can do. We usually beat offers. So if you have something you'd like to present to me, or something you just want me to look over and say if this is legit or good enough, and it hasn't been run through myself and my facility, this is something you'll want to do. Or if we don't beat it, we'll give you a $500 gift card, guaranteed. Who else will do that? Who else will also give you this Connect Cash program where you can get 2% if you refer somebody and they get funded? I fund you, you refer somebody else, they get funded, you earn 2% of that, excuse me. And you get to pay your funding off much faster and much cheaper, 1% on all employee retention tax credit. And be serious. Please don't beat around the bush. And I'm going to get into some of the qualifications. We're 11 minutes in. We're going to go into this really quickly. We're going to transfer over in about less than 30 seconds. So right here, you get to see more posts, just showing you guys just the worth, the value, the 4 reasons why with Viral Funding Solutions, why do you want to go through a broker, an expert like myself, and how I deliver. And there's more right there. You can see there's another company there, funded 175,000, a big time one. And there are many more. I just haven't posted them all here and in other places, but in time. And then here you can see people commenting. I'll get back to you, George. I know you did comment the other day, and I think I did get back to you, but please be patient with me, guys. So now let me move over to this other screen where we were before. 1 second. I'll actually copy and paste it instead of moving screens over. Okay, back to this topic. We're going to begin with business loan examples, and then we're going to go into the application process of certain apps. Appreciate you. Thank you, Finesse. I couldn't even get the word you out. I'm trying to get this moving, guys, so we can finish at most at 30 or so minutes. Please bear with me. If that doesn't, please, this is very educational and helpful. Invite your friends and family. Invite some stranger that you don't even know. But I'm not here to sell people. I'm here to help you. For those of you who have unrealistic expectations, oh, you better know that you're not going to be misinformed. I'm going to reshape your beliefs. And if you don't like it, that's on you. Don't bring this to me. That's on you. And so here, thank you. Appreciate you. We're not on the replay yet, but we'll get there in time. You're speaking for the future. Here we have 100,000 to 30,000 business loan offers, like I said, and more. And I'll be getting into 0% interest here soon, so you'll want to stick around for that. So end of month offers. Please, please, please do not start something you cannot end. Do not start something you cannot give me feedback on. Do not go unresponsive, and I'll get into that in a second. But accept offers before it rolls over to the next month. We might be able to give you 2 to 3 days. We might need a month-to-date transaction report. We may need your current, your last month bank statements. We might not always ask for them. Okay, you're too late. Now you accept an offer. It's been 5 days over. Where were you? I expected an answer from you 2 to 3 days ago. You're not diligent. You're not punctual. You're not disciplined. Period. You can give me an excuse for everything like this, but if you were serious enough, you would keep track of these things. And you can tell me you're serious, you're punctual, but it doesn't show. I get to see who is and who isn't. I really get to see who or what character I'm working with. I get to see your personality traits. I get to know what you value. What are your beliefs? What are your aspirations? How do you think? How do you compartmentalize? How do you look at finances? How do you look at the structure of your business? Because I have my businesses. I know how I keep track of them, and I'm on top of things. So there's no excuse for things, no excuse for you to be rude, no excuse for you to bring your problems on top of me in the way of, look, Michael, I'm just going to dump all of this, that I'm going to be in anger. Not like that. I mean, as in, if you have problems, you have questions, you have roadblocks, you have obstacles, bring them to me. I'll answer those questions, but don't try to bring any negativity down my throat, because I'm not having that. Myself and my team, I'm not putting my reputation, I'm not putting them through that either. So here, you can accept an offer at any time today. After today, they will require another month's bank statements or a month-to-date bank transaction report, as said. Battling for the right offer when you have the right expectations. So what I mean here, and this is kind of just, running checks on you guys to make sure that you guys have the right expectations. People right now who are asking me, I want $1 million, I want 2 million of this and that. And then when I tell them why it wouldn't work and how it's supposed to work and what they can do, they still get put off by it. And I'm not getting at least 300,000. I don't want any. And it has to make sense. And I go back to them and go, well, can you start off with maybe 60,000 because that's all you're going to get approved for realistically. Okay, I can use 60,000 for this. Okay, and then I can come back and get more. Yes, you can come back and get more. Or do you really need the 300, 500,000 all at once to make it work? So be realistic with what you can get. And I'll get into that in a moment. Does it exist? Normally it doesn't. For the right person, it does, but not for everybody. Get serious about how you use your funds, manage your finances, have a structured business and plan. So whether you're working with me on this, my internal team on all of this, it's very important you guys build a foundation from the LLC, get incorporated, or whatever you are, a 1099, 1040, independent contractor. Do you have an EIN? You're trying to build business credit, but you don't have an EIN. Do you have an LLC? That would help optimize. It's all about optimizing personal and business credit at the end of the day. Get feedback, be open-minded, and be patient. That's one of my biggest pet peeves these days, especially with this industry. And I have digital marketing agency. I do lead generation for businesses, and there's a huge difference there than what I see here in this industry. And please give feedback, be open-minded, and be patient. Let me do this so you guys can understand and place yourself in my shoes like I place myself in your guys' shoes every day. I'm very energy and time efficient, but those of you who do not use my time and energy correctly, and don't be intimidated. I'm not one of those characters to intimidate anybody, but please be on it. Don't be negative. Don't be like submitting my questionnaire form and just disappeared. And hey, I'm supposed to be hearing from them. I'm not going to pressure you, but if I don't hear back from you, why did you waste my energy and time putting a customized and personalized email for you? So so I go into a little bit about a specific scenario a long time ago. So if you have existing advances and stuff, your expectations of getting more than what you have already, it's a lot harder to. So right here, this is going to be part of the questionnaire. So down below, or I'll actually, after I go through some of these examples, I'll put it in the comments, but in the description in time with the replay, you will see a questionnaire you can fill out. If you haven't, bear with me. And if you have, I'll get back to you. And if I have already gone back to you, you know, or I'll follow up with you. Sometimes you get bombarded with many emails that you miss it. It's fine. It probably landed in spam. Okay. But look out for it. You know what to expect. I'm an expert at what I do. You guys, I'm not just a customer service rep. I'm not the information guy. I actually review documentation myself with my team. I'm doing a lot of SBA loan deals. And I told previous clients, they thought they filled out everything. They thought they put everything that they needed. I told them, you're missing this, you're missing that. You don't want to hear it from me then? Let me get my SBA loan officer. Let me get this person to tell you themselves, whether you believe me or not. The thing is, if you're going to waste energy and time not submitting the right documentation, don't even begin. And I'm very serious, guys. I'm not saying this like, whoa, I've never seen this side of them. If you guys don't hear this from me, a lot of you will take advantage. You don't take advantage of me. Most people don't. Some of you will try to get away with it on an application and lie about things just to get approved. I told you guys very carefully and very closely that this doesn't apply to you, and you guys still do what you need to do because it doesn't make sense to do those. So be very careful about the information you get from who you get it from. A lot of people will bait and switch you. They'll overpromise and underdeliver. You're going to be getting not the max amount that you wanted. I've had people who get $15,000 offers here. I get them $50,000 to $100,000 because of the network I have, the personal and business relationships with my team. And some of you guys may not believe it. You have to see it. All right, let's come through with it then. No more talk. So here, your name, I removed this, and this is a fictitious example, and this is what you'll submit in that questionnaire. So your name, I removed the name of the person, your email, that's obviously removed, the phone number as well. Funding amount, and I moved some of these numbers around just so you know, but let's say for this one, the funding amount that this individual is requesting, it's $1 million. Okay, just did that just to make sure you guys see that. Time in business is a years or months. Don't give me 13 what? 13 days, 13 years, 13 months, 13, what is it? And then I have to go looking for the business, and then that hopefully will tell me. And if I can't find that information, I just spent my wheels 20 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 minutes, even if it's just 2 minutes, looking for something that's not even on the web, and I can't even find out. I have to contact the business owner. Will they be responsive? Now I have to email them 2 to 3 times. Are they going to be responsive? So that's not what I want to deal with. I see how energy and time sucking up that is. So years or months, is it 13 days, 13 years, 12 months? Please list that. I put 13 years here. Now, what's their credit? FICO, Experian, FICO 8s, FICO 9s. Okay, FICO, Experian credit, they have a 640 FICO Experian credit score. If I ask for Equifax and TransUnion, maybe I put it in the questionnaire, or you can do it without me even saying it. Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. You can put it in that order for me. Business credit. Do you have it or not? It makes a big difference, specifically when we're looking at SBA loan deals. We're looking at online bank term loans. And I'm going to cover these guys, so stick with me. I know we're at the 20-minute mark. I said I'm going to try to do it under 30 minutes. We've got a few things to blast through, but I'll leave documentation down below in the description. I should have those down below of what I'm going to go to in a little bit on another share screen. So that may be there, and if it isn't, look for other information. But I'm going to show you this in just a second. So right here, this makes a difference for online bank term loans, more so than it does for business lines of credit. It makes more sense for SBA loans, online bank term loans. I'll be going into some of those in a moment. Ownership percentage. Do you or do you not have 50-50? Is it 25, 90-10? How is it structured? Okay, you have 100% for this example. You could have said 50-50. Okay, if I said 50, if you said 50-50, I have to take the lowest score out of the two FICOs. I can't see the highest. I need the lowest. And I need to make sure you guys list one another on the application. Sometimes if it's a majority owner, we'll only need one person on the application and we'll consider that 51% and over. But a lot of the times it can be more. It has to be probably 80-20, 80, 90%. But be aware that you will have to normally list another owner, and we're going to have to take the lowest score. Forget what somebody else told you, that dumb broker out there or that person who tells you, and I say dumb very lightly, guys, but people who play dumb. That's what I meant by it. Not like they're not smart. It's like they're playing dumb. And so they're just trying to get you in an application for the most part. Hey, we got a funding. A lot of these lenders, hey, let's just suck up their money and their cash flow. Even if your cash flow is going backwards, sometimes that's the only option for you. You have to take a temporary setback to make a comeback. You think I want to suck your guys' cash flow up? No. You think I want to do that to my own? No. But I'm in a better position today than where I was 4 to 5 years ago, because now I have business credit, personal credit. I'm not having to rely on getting business loans. So I'll be getting into that in a moment. And guys, I'm an introvert. You guys are hearing me speak quite a bit because I've learned these skills. And I'd rather not be, but I know this gives you guys a lot of value. And just know I'm a very meticulous person. And I can break things down for you like no other. And I speak slowly. Right now, I'm trying to get through time. Lowest monthly revenue. This person is doing 30,000 on the last 90 days. So 3 months. What's their lowest out of those 3 months? It can be the most recent. It could be one of the second or the third, the last one, the latest. So latest month or the oldest. Latest monthly revenue. What is it currently? 50,000. Okay. Average monthly revenue. They're doing around 50,000 in the last 90 days. Average daily bank balance, 5,000. Okay. Better to be above 1,000. That's what we're looking for. Anything underneath that, it makes it harder. We can still look at it. It's per case basis, but we're going to see how much revenue you're generating, non-sufficient funds, and these things come into play even more. Average daily bank balances need to be high enough too. Annual gross revenue, they're doing around 620,000. Their highest monthly sales in the last 6 months, 45,000. Average monthly sales in the last 6 months, 60,000. I could ask for average in the last 6 months, but we look at most recent 3 months for a lot of these. So just keep that in mind. And so over here, what do they need to use the funds for? Expansion. Okay. Existing business loan? No. Great. If they did, and if you did, you could put yes, you do. And if you put yes, and you didn't have no here, then I would require you to list for me what is the remaining balance. 35,000 remaining on 50,000 I took out in January. Great. 1.45 factor rate. That's how a lot of these unsecured fundings are, not traditional business loan APRs or amortized the way you think they are. And then with who? For a term of 4 months. I don't know, something like, let's say 6 months here. With, I don't know, this lender A. You can be as specific as you like. I'm not going to use this information against you. It'll only help me when I know. If you give me more, the better, because I know who not to look for. I know if we submitted a file with me, I wouldn't go to that exact lender and it wouldn't really work. And so the more you put, the better, but you can put a minimum if you want. But give me the amount that you took out. What's the remaining? When is it over? Like, I need to know these things because it will make a difference. If you're going to get a second position, can you get anything? A second to fourth position, can you get anything? Are you over leveraged? What are you trying to do? Term length expectation, 10 years. Okay. Need funds when? ASAP, tomorrow, next week, next month. Business industry, general contractor. Let's put that. Business name, removed. Field, need a warehouse built, tools and supplies for new jobs, billboards, etc. Let's put marketing here. The list can go on and on. Now, a superstar would tell me I need 25% used for marketing, 15% used for tools and supplies, and boom, that would be even better. You don't have to, it just helps me better. So with this person's situation, what do you guys think they can get? I know it's a hard question to answer, so let me get into it because of time. But this person here is not going to get 10 years. That is out of reach only because of these things. And I'm not even looking at the cash flow yet. I haven't even looked at historical tax returns yet, profit and loss balance sheets, which I know how to analyze these things. And I haven't even had to yet, because this right here is enough that tells me whether they can or can't qualify for certain services. And so my brain, there's so much that I could put out there for you to know how I meticulously break this down, but I'd be spending about another 2 to 3 hours or days trying to tell you guys all this. So just know you guys are getting the best. No, this is what it is. Unless you can prove you can raise your credit, you can prove you can raise your revenue in the next 2 to 3 days, or not even that, and this and that, you're not getting that. So here, they're not getting $1 million like that unless they had collateral that was equal to or greater than. Maybe we get 85% up to 90% on age receivables if they had that. But even then, it's a stretch with their revenue and what they're producing, around 620,000. So it won't usually exceed that in many, many cases, unless they have so much remaining that they haven't been paid on. So here, 13 years, which is great. I like that. They have a lot of time in business. They've proven themselves. They're not new. They're not 2-3 years in. They're up there. They're not 1 year in. They're not 6 months in. They show us and they know that they are doing what they are doing, and they are like the expert, or they are at best at what they are doing. Great. And there's a lot more that tells us with time in business. Credit here, 640 minimal, not even qualified for an SBA loan. There are some non-banking lenders out there where you're not having to open up a new account with another bank. We're more flexibility in underwriting, but it can go sometimes low as 620. But don't go in with that. That's just the rarest circumstances, and it's a lot has to be looked at on cash flow and historical tax returns, strong profitability. And so even with the lower credit score, that's not going to work. So ideally, to get an SBA loan up to 10 years for this client, they'd want to have at least a 675 credit score. Yes, I've seen 660, but to an amount you won't probably get as much, or you won't get the best. More collateral will be asked for at a minimum. And so what I shoot for is 680 and above, 700 is best, and so forth. That's where you want to be. And you do want to have business credit established, which is what they have. But here, I wouldn't even recommend they do an SBA loan. It won't work for them. They're probably going to have a lot of friction because they want what they want and they can't get what they get. And that's okay. That's what I'm here for. And I'm not wasting energy and time. I'm going to get to things. And if it's not something you like, and the way I put it, it's very deliverable. Like, I deliver your guys' message correctly. I'm very considerate. I'm very humble, and respect my energy and time, please, as I respect yours, and we'll get on the same page. And I'm a very diligent entrepreneur / business owner, so I just don't run businesses. It's like I'm taking care of each and every one of them, just like you guys are. They're my babies. So right here, yes, they have business credit. Now, that's a determination of how strong. What have they built up? Not only with DNB, what else is reporting on their others, if any? Do they have a FICO SPSS score of 155 or greater, or 135 or 145? Do they have a debt service coverage ratio of 1.15 at least? If we went underneath it, what would we have to refinance? What would we have to lower interests on just to be able to help them qualify and more? Ownership percentage, great, 100%. And I'll be getting into the credit-based programs and how that affects it in some cases. So lowest monthly revenue, 30,000, great. So at most, they're going to be getting somewhere in the mid 20,000s to about 60,000, because they're averaging 50, exceeding 60,000, like on a minimum from 1x to 2x of their lowest. And then we look at their average of the two. And if this is the case where they maybe had 70,000 here, where it was just a slow month, and this month was the oldest month out of the three, then we might be able to do 30 to 70,000 or 25 somewhere in the mid 20s on that 30,000 to about 70,000. But don't expect to get the 200% if your revenue is just fluctuating every single time. Your cash flow is less, or we'll say 22,500 on this for the 75%. not so much 50% of that, but 75, excuse me, to 200% of that. So if that's the case, then we could work with that, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get that. So you have to work with me and say, can I even, if you even just started with 60,000, you even just started with 45,000, could you put that money to work? That's the mindset you guys need to have. Marketing, I need it for billboards, I need it for tools and supplies. Okay, what do you need to sacrifice? Have you really run down your business plan, business owner, Mr. or Mrs., and you know where you're allocating the percentage of those funds? What is it right now? What's that one main priority that if you use that, it knocks down all dominoes? Or one, it doesn't do that, but you know it is going to give you a significant return on your investment, or however you best see fit. But you're using that funding. I'm going to use it for a billboard. I got 45,000. I think that's enough for what I need. It's not as much as I wanted, but I'm going to work with 45,000. That's my plan first. I'm going to actually pay these funds off in about 3 months. And then I'm going to come back, Michael, after I paid off 50% of the balance, I'm going to get more. Okay, this time around, maybe you get 90,000, maybe you get 80,000, you get doubled next time around. Okay, now that's 60 to 70,000 next time I got, or 80,000. I'm going to apply it towards a new warehouse. I'm going to apply it towards some tools and supplies that I really needed, not getting them too soon. That's how you think. No, Michael, if I don't get 500,000, yeah, but when I ask you the question of, did you really need all of it at once? A lot of business owners tell me no. Or I have contracts, yeah, I do need it all at once, or I do need it all for this ground up construction project, or whatever it is, they need a deposit of this. Okay, but you have to be realistic of, can you get approved for that? And you're just trying to stack on and one offer on top of another. That's not good. You have to wait. You have to give it a waiting period. And there's a few more things. So let me get back into this. So here, I'm going to say they probably get 60,000. Let's say that. There's more to look at when we go through the bank statements ourselves. We go through the depositing, the infrequencies, if there are any, how many deposits, average daily bank balances. Because a lot of business owners, they tell me, yeah, I'm doing 30,000. That's deposits. What are you doing in revenue? We'll only make 22,000 in revenue, or it's actually more than that. But I need to see these things. You guys think just being fly, Mr. Fly Guy or Mr. Fly Girl, putting it in an application, you guys got to know your numbers. Give it a rough estimate. If you don't know, it's okay. Nobody's going to bash you, but just make sure you're being as accurate as you can. Annual gross revenue, we see that. So this is a case to be made where this business owner, because they don't have anything remaining, I wouldn't even say an online bank term loan. And we're going to get to some of those right now in a second. And we're way over time now, but please stick with me, guys. And we'll close up here as soon as I can. So no, because bank term loans, they're going to want to see 660 credit. They're going to want to see better business credit, personal credit, cash flow. We're going to do our numbers on that. We're going to need to see 2 to 3 years of personal and business tax returns. Debt service coverage ratio would like to be up. And if you don't have cash flow, enough of it, you don't have the credit, you don't have, maybe they put a lien on your home, maybe it's collateralized. Not always is it. It could be unsecured, but at the same time, you're a riskier profile, and so they're not going to give you as much. You're not optimizing what you can get, and that's an alternative to even an SBA loan. So I wouldn't even go with an online bank term loan, even if you opened up a new account with them and so forth. Great, and you got lower interest, great, but that's not the point. The point isn't to play the game of getting the lowest interest. The game of this is to use those funds as you need, the benefit exceeding your repayment. It's not about, well, if I can get 15% here, but I'm getting 25% there, even if you got 30% and above, it depends on the relationship and how fast you can get funds again. With an online bank term loan, you may not be open. Once you get 30,000, 40,000, you could have got 40,000, 50,000 with an advanced lender, with a term loan. You could have got 2 years. Okay, they gave you 2 years, but you really needed 2 years to do that. And then you go to apply for something else, you can't get approved, or you can't get another amount with those options that you were applying to. So it's all about being strategic. And so what I recommend for this business owner, and I'll put it right here, and I'll give it to you guys in an email, and I'll show you guys your best funding options. So for this one, I may tell you in that questionnaire, we're going to do a hybrid cash advance. That's what it would be. And then we can blend that in with the term loan. So it's a hybrid cash advance from 4 to 24, usually 3 to 24 months in a lot of cases. But they may have to start only with 10 months because of their credit, because of their time in business. It helps better with their term, with their rate. It could be a little bit better. But they have subprime, low 600 credit. So even at 650, we want to see 675 and above. Better credit, even though it's not credit-based, it's revenue-based financing. We're looking at those bank statements, but they might get only a 1.42 factor rate, not interest rates, because these are based on future receivables. These are not based on amortized interest rates. They're not bank loans. They're based on factor rates. So what happens is you're paying back a portion with your future sales. It can be a fixed daily or weekly. It can be a percentage. As you make more sales, more gets taken out. less gets taken out. I don't do those normally. I like the ones where they're fixed. You know what's coming out of your account every single day. You know what's coming out weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, Michael. Those don't happen. They rarely do, especially in this market. You have to work your way up there. If so, and you have to be a high cash flowing business, strong returns as well. You have to have strong credit, not subprime. You got to be even higher than 730, 750 in this market, 800 and above. You really have to be knocking that out of the park with time in business or industry. And even then, it's not a guarantee you're going to get that. Well, Michael, I'm doing 30 million a year. I'm doing 25 million a year. Well, we'll explain to you why you're getting what you're getting, but don't come into this blindly upset about things when someone like this guy here is explaining to you guys how it really works, as opposed to some influencer or some other person who just goes, here's a link. Or they don't even tell you. They just put a link and they have 20 million people following them. And just because of that influence, you perceive them to be at what they know to be the best. And I'm not saying they don't know their stuff. Don't misconstrue my words. I'm just saying that, are they at best at what they do when it comes to those? That's what you have to think about. And are they really revealing everything? Not a lot of this can be found online, guys. Some of it can, not all of it, though. And you guys are seeing a different perspective because I work directly with those lenders and underwriters and on my team. And here, yeah, they might get a 1.42 factor rate. And that just means if they were to get, let's say, the example of 60,000. So if they're getting 60,000 and their risk profile, their industry profile, their credit is a factor where they can't get anything lower, it's not strong enough. So we say, how much do they have to pay back? In total, 85,200 on that 60,000, more or less. Okay. Well, now you're starting to do the math. Well, that's 25,200, Michael. Okay, for those of you who can't pay that, you won't get usually that amount. You might be paying back 2,000 to 3,000 or so, but it depends on the term as well and what you're getting. So for a business owner doing 60,000, I wouldn't see a problem paying back 25,000. But how much time do you get? So this person may get 10.5 months, close enough to 11. They might get somewhere between 7 to 11 months, but not 12 months through 24 months. And getting to 24 months, it's hard. You have to, a lot of this times at max, start at 18 and then grow your way up there. Unless it's absolutely necessary. Sometimes we see up to 36 months, but it has to be like this business that's proven themselves. Maybe they received funding before. If not, it's a huge business, very, very huge business. And this is the only option. If because the banks aren't lending past 24 months or so, or they don't want to go even deeper, we may be able to do that. But that's very, very rare. So don't expect that. It's not always necessary. So 10.5 months. And then you're starting to do all the numbers, which we're not going to get into all of this right now. What's my total cost of financing and all these numbers. But just know that you're simply paying back on that 60,000 if you got a 1.42 factor rate, because your risk association is that. Well, what about if you got a the average here, guys, it's 1.38. You got to have stronger credit too. That helps. So 1.38 on that 60,000. What are you paying back? 82,800. Okay, not that major of a difference. 3,000 or so. All right, now we get into 1.19. Let's see how much of a difference that makes. So 1.19 by your 60,000, and there's more numbers that we do too to calculate. So 71,400. Okay, that's a significant drop. But are you lendable to be paying back, let's see, 11,400 instead of paying back 25,000 or so, even higher? That's the question. And it's not about that. It's about saying, well, if I took 60,000, I'll turn that into 90,000 by next month, by the next 2 months, or I project this to happen. See how simple that is, guys? It's those of us who complicate ourselves and we think, well, I don't want to get those pesky medium to high rates. Well, that's the only thing you can qualify for, or it's what's best. Don't look down upon it. Look upon down on your business. That's the problem. It's that you probably haven't sat down and really looked through your finances because you're handling everything in your business. I've been there, done that. I get it. When you get time to hire somebody who can help understand this, then do that. But until then, don't please complain. Don't do these things that now we're going back and forth. Meet me here now. We're not back here. It's not obviously going through. Just right here is where we need to meet. But there's something you're going back and forth on. That's the problem that's getting in the way is the character. It could be the finances. It could be just thinking you should get something that you don't get. So there's too many problems there. And I've always said this, and I'll get into this in a moment, that most people have the wrong belief about how this works. And most people go, well, I took one of those, my friend took one of those, I took one of those 60,000 and I couldn't. Well, it's because you didn't use it right. Well, it's common sense, guys. It's just very common sense. But people don't like, they use it, but it's just like they find out that what they were using, they didn't really need to get that much, or they find out, oh, something like happened where now I don't have this revenue source, not generating me enough money. Well, your projections were not, they were more of an assumption. If you got to say, hey, I believe this may happen. So what I'll do then is I'll start off with an initial 40,000, Michael, because I have a contract expiring. Boom, bada boom, bada bang. I love that. Thank you for bringing that to me. That's how we do things. Now here's another one, and I'll get into the qualifications here soon. So it does look like we're going over time, but please stick with me. So here, removed. 20,000 is what they're seeking. 7 months, 620 credit. None is which they have no credit, no business credit established. Ownership percentage, they own 100% that they have started with. They probably have already filed their incorporation, LLC, state of articles of incorporation, and more. EIN they have. Now, lowest monthly revenue, of course, they're a startup 7 months in, so they don't have any revenue. They could have said something if they did, even at a pre-early startup stage. Here, annual gross revenue of none, zero, none. There again, drop down. They just didn't want to specify, or it's another use of funds. So here, existing business loan, no. Okay, I wouldn't, normally that wouldn't be the case. Existing business loan, no. Existing amount, they don't have one, so they don't have to state that they don't have any. Unless it's a PPP loan or unless it's an EIDL loan, you don't have to state here. So you can say, I do, but it's not an EIDL loan or it's not a PPP loan. You don't have to give me the amount on that, because that usually doesn't reflect or doesn't contribute into disapproving or how much you could probably get with those, with other services. Term length expectation, 25 months. So just over 2 years. When needing the funds, ASAP. Business industry, that's auto repair. Business name, I removed it. What do they need to use the funds for? Inventory, new office space, and equipment. Okay, so based on these details, this is a startup, so we've gone from one spectrum to another. Right here, there we go. You can usually, because I have a touchscreen, I can do that, but it's not working. It doesn't on lives for some reason. So right here, okay, it's going to be hard because of their credit. I expect them to have at least 680 FICO Experian credit. Okay, it's not to say they can't get approved for any personal cards or business credit cards. They don't want to do that. I'm sure they don't, or they don't know that, or that's what they'll have to do. They might get something with business credit, but it's not optimized. And so when you don't have an optimized credit profile, you're going to be wondering why you don't get what you want. Why didn't you get 5 times the amount? But I heard it from somebody that I can get that. But you haven't optimized your credit profile. And normally they want to see certain credit-based solutions, 500 plus, 700 plus FICO Experian. And they'll probably also ask for, some other ones will ask for 700 plus on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. Okay, no questions asked about that. And a lot of these, they can be for, well, you can get in with an entry point on some of them. That's why you got to work with the right people. And a lot of you don't do that, or just, this Michael guy is just shouting. I'm not shouting. But if that's the way you're an adult. If I were to come to you like, and I'm like that, but I'm not going to do that every single time. I'm a very nice person, but don't mistake my kindness for a weakness at all. Don't ever take advantage of anybody and so forth. You know what to do. Take care of yourself to then be able to take care of someone else. So right here, 680 is what the credit-based funding programs would like to see on just one of the 3. Sometimes other lenders, they'll like to see 700 and above, or else they won't work with you. So that's why you have to come through someone like myself, because the market's always changing. And the next day it might be 690, 600, 700, 670, but it's not going to go really low on those, usually 680, because by that point we start going under high balances, you're over leverage, credit utilization, repos, you have derogatories. How do you think bankruptcies? How do you expect us to give you money when you can't even make the payments on those, or you've been making the payments? It's too hard. You're over leveraged. Your debt to income is way too high. Okay, so business credit, none, but this is hard. So I'll get into some of the solutions. They're going to go in a non-traditional way. They can do probably 401k, IRA financing, a home equity loan, home equity line of credit, equity crowdfunding, not equity crowdfunding, just regular crowdfunding. There are a few more of them that we can get into, but I can't even get them business credit cards to liquidate cash out of at 0% interest for 6 to 18 months and do credit card stacking because of credit there. And so you can get a credit partner, get a guarantor, or get a, if you do a credit partner, get a guarantor, have a 700 and above on all 3 consumer credit bureaus, then you have somebody who owns at least 10% of the business, it could work. But if you don't, then you're going to have to do the personal/business funding. So personal funding, this is where 680 and above Experian, but 700 is preferred. A lot of the time 680 doesn't get approved, but it's just per case basis. And at that point, then you'll want to get a co-signer, somebody you file joint taxes with, a spouse, or you get somebody who can apply with their own credit, takes on the debt on their credit, and then they help you. They give that money over towards your business, and how they apply it, that's up to you guys. Okay, so that's much harder to do in the 25 months, may not work, but it could if they get somebody else or they raise their own credit, because we could do 1 to 5 years. Not saying they're going to get this exact time. We still have to look at the details. Now over here, we're going to go into remove. Now this file is looking better. This person here has 200,000 that they want. 12 years time in business, strong. 680 credit, okay, minimum, but we still have to see overall. We can do it with the soft pull. Business credit, yes, great. 100% ownership, nice. Lowest monthly revenue. Okay, this is a higher revenue generating. We're not saying exactly cash flow generating business, because we still have to get to see what goes in, what goes out during periods of time. You can have a high generating, revenue generating business month to month per year, but cash flow wise, what do you have in reserve? What do you have remaining? What is it that's going in and out? And if you have nothing left over, this is the reason why a lot of businesses don't get approved for online bank term loans, SBA loans. If you're not cash flowing heavily, it's not strong enough. So current monthly revenue, strong. So 250 here on average daily bank balance, 20K, annual gross revenue, 1.3 million. Highest monthly sales in the last 6 months, 260K, average 170K. Drop down, expansion. No business loan, great. That's kind of rare to see. In some cases it is, because most of the time you guys are probably sucked up in taking cash advances. I'm not the first guy you've come to. And let me tell you this, a lot of people who do come to me, I get into my emails all the time, Michael, if I knew about you in the beginning, I wouldn't have done all this. They tell me that. And I'm very humble and appreciative of you guys telling me that, because, yeah, it may not be your first point of contact, but I will be your last normally. And if I'm your first point of contact, say no more. Unless you break that chain of loyalty, if you're that kind of person who's just applying anywhere and everywhere. You do not want to apply anywhere and everywhere. I can take you to direct lenders. I can take you to indirect lenders. Where in indirect, we do a brokerage, more flexibility. I already have partnerships to those direct lenders anyways, where I can go and meet them and ask them about 2 different lenders. And I go, I really wanted this one, but we were pulling from these 2 just to entice them and see if this one would see that and then come in. They give you more. Boom. Simple. So here, this looks like a file where they want 10 years. Great. They could have put 2 years, 3 years, but I would have even said, hey, you could probably do an SBA loan. This is a situation where it looks like it's SBA loan heavy. We could do a minimum of 200,000 to 5 million. There's lower. We do up to 25K or sometimes 50K to 150K. It just depends on the service, a micro SBA loan, an express loan, but those are much harder sometimes to get, and they take as much amount of time as it does to underwrite the even higher files. And those aren't always as enticing. Those require stronger credit, like 700 and above in a lot of cases. Maybe it's not as cash flow intensive, but still they'll look at business credit and a few other things. So here, yes, this makes more sense to do in this example. They want 200,000. They're not even, they could probably get more than 200,000. So we'll say, hey, if you can get approved for 700,000, are you willing to do that over 10 years? A lot of business owners end up doing that. Longer term, lower interest rates. And so here we see that I get to understand what they want. So I'll position, this person has the room galore to see. They can go through revenue-based, perhaps collateral-based. They can do revenue-based, I said, credit-based, collateral-based. So it looks like they have a little bit of everything. Now that's me to uncover and make sure that they have what they need. So here, example 2, funding amount 40,000. It's very quickly here, 540 FICO. Business credit, none. Time in business, years or months, 1 year, 4 months. Your monthly sales, 75K in the lowest month. So I'm just going to quickly speed through this, but this looks like something that we could work out to be better, but the credit's going to hold them back. It's probably going to be 4 to 6 month terms, if anything, 5.5 months, because they have low credit. Now, if this person had stronger credit, they're already above a year, and they have the revenue that's over 725,000. This would be an example of if they had at least 600 and above, then we could fit in about 7 to 11 months, but they have to work their way up there. And they may have to wait. They might reshift their plans, but that's the case. And then here's something that it may look like where I share with you myself and or my team. Here is your offer. Congratulations, you've been approved for this. And then here's the funding amount. And then the term, this is a hypothetical solution. This is not accurate. This is just numbers moved. This is just an example to show you guys what it could look like. This isn't for one specific person. So here's what you're getting over the 120 months, about 6 months. Daily payment, $435, Monday through Friday, no weekends. Lender closing fee, $1,245, 0 to 5% usually origination fees and all that. Payback, depending, it also depends on the lender, the tier that you get. Payback, $52,150. So on the 35K, can you make $52,150? Can you turn that 35K into 60K? Can you turn it into 55K? If not, you have a temporary setback. Can you still use those funds? Are they of use? And then you move forward. Okay, it just depends on how you use it, how you're doing cash flow wise. It's not always going to help cash flow wise, which is fine, but you have to sometimes do this for it to work and generate the revenue you need to. And then down the line, you look for better cash flow stability and to free up that. But not everybody has that, and it can help with cash flow as well in many ways. So here are the underwriting guidelines I have down below while you will be getting the rates and the terms that you are getting for different AP paper, B paper, C paper, more funding amounts. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I might leave this down below or not. But here you can see that. Boom, there are more examples. But let's switch over to a new tab, and we're going to close up here in a second. Okay, so I got to do this. I'm going to open this up in a new tab because I replaced that tab with this one. So we're going to end here, and then I'm going to go through some things at the end just to recap. I know I said under 30 minutes. Realistically, these need to take more time for you guys to understand this. So before you click through the application, and I might leave this documentation, I might leave it down below in the description. I'm actually going to leave it in the comments right now. Let me see if I can copy this. Should be shareable. I'll have it in the description, hopefully. If not, it's okay. But here you go. And you may have seen this already, but before you click through the application down below, I told you about in a video, this one, or there's another one I made and I added it to this. You watch below are more qualifications for revenue-based funding and more services. P.S. You can scroll to the very bottom of this document to the conclusion and the part where it says you can locate the business funding, funding questionnaire to get a highly personalized and customized email response on your best funding option and options with what you see below and more. Also, a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist is included. For qualifications, this is in red, guys, so you guys understand, like you got to read this. Please treat it like a contract. It's not that, but read it like it is one. Read it like your life depends on it. It's no different when you're getting a home. Please take the time. It proves to me that when people don't do this, it can only tell me so much about what they're going to be doing already in the application process. It might prove me wrong, but what I see, I need a micro commitment from you. If you're not showing me those little micro commitments, it already shows me that you're not going to follow through with something. You might start something but not end it, or you might end it, but man, it took me 20 years of aging in the whole sequence. We did not need that. I did not need that. So just be very smooth. I'll work with you on this so we can reduce friction resistance. For qualifications of the revenue-based funding without collateral, please read over this carefully. And all else from this point forward, application below. You're operating for profit. Nonprofit does not qualify for this. We've seen some that do when it's nonprofit, but it's harder. Usually it's a decline. That's what it is 99.99% of the time. Sometimes the screen doesn't let me move. Okay, that's because I'm inside the ring. No, it's not because of that. Okay, so you have a business checking account. Must be in the name of your business, not a personal account used for business. If you're using a personal account for business, go to the self-employed option below. It's in green heading. And not transferring funds from between personal to business. That does not count as stated true organic revenue. We won't count that. When you're moving personal to business, that does not count. Put it into a business checking account. That is business revenue, not, well, you have a different situation. Well, no, you should get a business checking account. Well, I'm trying to collateralize at home, get startup funding. I want to do this and move my stuff outside of the country. So if they try to take there's so many things. I know all the things you guys bring up and things that I've gone through myself. So there's not one thing that I haven't seen really or heard of, but whether it can be done or not, that's yet to be determined. It does not count as stated true organic revenue. Online banking setup, yes, it has to be. PDF versions. All these lenders want to see that. There has to be a presence, not just snapshotting your tax returns or snapshotting your business bank statements. That could be manipulated. Even if you didn't manipulate it, it could very well be. Hi, Divine. How are you doing? 450 and above credit, although 500 plus is best, if not 550 for lower revenue, below 15K, but you can still get a look. I'm going to speed through this. I can go on for this subject and for a long time. But for certain revenues, they want certain credit requirements. And even if you go underneath that threshold, they can still consider it with stronger revenue, non-sufficient funds are clear, average daily bank balances, etc. But have at least 500 and above is what's best. 550 if you're generating less than 15K, 5K and above is best. Anything underneath 5K, we can look at it without a credit requirement, and I'll leave an option for that down below in this document. 4 months time in business. If you're a startup, go to the green heading that reads, personal business / startup loan. Oop, wrong tab. I was on. You didn't see that. I was opening up another tab on one. Option 1, and go through those below it as well. 3 months of revenue, at least 5K plus per month, and your lowest month, 5K plus, at least 3 to 4 deposits. Sometimes they ask for 4 to 5 plus deposits with lower revenue. Depositing your funds into one primary business checking account and not transferring within multiple accounts over and over again, which looks suspicious. And it's hard to track, especially if it's those with online transfer from checking to, and it comes from like a vendor similar supplier, then it wouldn't be counted as true deposits and a stated revenue and not stated revenue. If you have multiple business checking accounts transfers, then we will have to look through each and every one of them. Different banking institutions, maybe you have a new one now, but also make sure you have on hand, maybe not 3. We have to look at the most, what you have at least out of those last 3 or so months. But also make sure you apply with your biggest and highest revenue one. So for those of you in here who are already not depositing correctly, you need, I'll go into the comments in a second. But for those of you who are not depositing already enough, it's not the type of revenue or solution for your structured business, whether it's structured correctly or not, we can discover that. It may be your only solution, but if it isn't, or even if it is, we have to think about, if you're getting a daily or weekly in this market, again, it's hard to get monthly unless you're doing personal loans, personal lines of credit, personal business credit cards. You have an SBA loan, an online bank term loan. Lines of credit are hard to get approved monthly right now. They're usually weekly. Equipment loans, more so monthly. There's a few other ones out there, but those are the most common ones. And so if you're not getting that, don't throw your hands up in the air and just wave them like you just don't care. I know that's really dumb, but corny. But the thing is, for the majority of people with those options, those are unsecured. It's revenue-based. Unsecured, they're not a lot of the times making timely repayments to the credit bureaus because they're not traditional business loans. And even if they were, it's okay. But for the majority of the times, you'll see with these that they won't make those timely payments, which is good, which is kind of like a quote-unquote disguise, but it helps your credit. It helps not knock down everything. And if you were to default, then that's where it would be an issue. With other ones that do require the hard pulls, these don't require hard pulls for a lot of times. These unsecured ones, here we could do it with just a soft pull. We don't have to do a hard pull for a majority of them. Now, if we needed to look extensively into credit because of something, we'll ask for your consent. And sometimes they say underneath the 660 or 650, we do need a pull, but not with these all the time. So just know that with online bank loans, hard pulls, boom, usually. Do you want that hard pull? Is it really worth? Do you have the strong cash flow? Do you have all of that? Do you even want to supply the documents just to get a year more than what you were receiving over here? It could make a difference, but for a majority of people, it's like the term is the least of their worries. It's about how they use their funds. That's what we need to think about. Let me close up here, and then I'll go to the comments divide. So if you're already depositing infrequently, you might need a longer term. That's what I was trying to get to. If you're depositing, let's say you're already depositing once at the end of the week, bi-weekly at the end of a month, 2 to 3 deposits a month. Well, of course, these are built for like restaurants, retail businesses, construction businesses can take them if they needed to. It's not the best, depending on how you get paid, what goes in, what comes out right away, who you have to pay. Excuse me, been done that in a long time. It's when I've been on video for a little bit, and so what you guys have to understand is if this is the only option, you guys have to take a little bit to start with if you have that negotiation power. But if you're not depositing already per day or however you're depositing is infrequent, of course you're going to be like, this isn't going to work. And you might need something with a longer term, but can you qualify for those? You want to go to the personal loans where it shows up on your debt, and if you go bankrupt and your family's on the line, this personal guarantee, all these things happen that they trickle effect. Is that what you want to go through? Yes, you might be like, okay, so fine. Everybody's in a different place to do that. So just keep that in the back of your mind. If that's the case, you want to have a stretched out longer term. If you're already depositing infrequently, a business owner who doesn't want to take these but can qualify for an SBA loan, those online bank loans, if it's even feasible, they might say, I could take 80,000 there, but let's look at an SBA loan. I'm already depositing infrequently, so those will stretch out my terms. Those that would give you probably a better look based on the situation, spreads out the repayment. Simple. So right here, we're going to close up here. Current loan consideration. I'm not going to go through all this. I'm going to just speed through it. I'm kind of tired already. We're an hour in. Consolidation, and I might leave this again down below. Background checks. Also, not have issues with this. You guys can see it on the screen. Okay, go through that. How it works, I'll break it down for you guys in your specific situation. It's personalized and customized to you. And how prepayment, there's no prepayment penalty, payoff discounts, the best that you're going to get. And if there's another loan scenario, I'll show you different numbers, ballpark numbers of what you can expect. Different situations where I had a lady who took 600,000 out, getting approved for that amount. And she ended up taking 158,000 because she didn't want to supply recent tax return to year-to-date financials. That's fine. If you want to start off with less, come back and get more, please do so. And also, if you're looking at bridge funding, we can get you an SBA loan in the meantime. And there's many ways. There's some loan scenarios I gave you guys. You guys probably see this when I submit it to you guys, the questionnaire. There's an example. It's not obtrusive. Somebody paying 10,000 a month, but they're making 600. They're getting 300,000 per month in revenue, paying 10,000 back a month. They got approved for 600K. That's all that needs to be said here. So if they don't take the 150K and they don't use it correctly, who's that now on? So 10,000 is not for somebody who's doing only 5,000 a month. Yeah, of course, I'm not going to give you that. Somebody who's doing 60,000 a month, you might get that or may not, depending on your rate, depending on your terms. But where do you begin? That's the question. Or you can add a line of credit if it's something you qualify for. You can add the line of credit with the lump sum if you make sense. Or lines of credit are hard to get approved for right now, so don't bet on that all the time. So I go through all of these. Self-employed. This is the best option. If you're generating 3,000 a month, up to 5,000 you can only get. We have more options here with the online bank term loan option, where this could be unsecured without collateral. It could involve a lien, depending on the position. But it could take longer to receive your funds, up to 2 weeks, if not 2 to 3 or so weeks. In a lot of cases, this is the case. If you need faster funding, this isn't the best solution. You might not maximize your gains over time as quickly as possible. So other solutions are better. Even if it's a higher interest or a factor rate, I would rather take the other options than do it an online bank term loan, if I'm being honest with you, because many of you think you need a longer term when in fact all you needed was like 12 months, 16 months. All you needed was 10 months. Really, that's a lot of the times. Now, for longer term projects, you may think about it and go, I can't get an SBA loan, but I could get a bank term loan. Or if I can't get an SBA because I don't want to go through all that, and it could be a bit faster, I'll do an online bank term loan instead. And then we work on that solution. But it requires, and this would have monthly payments, no prepayment penalties, fast loan funding, 7 to 12%, 6.99% starting interest, up to 29%, sometimes 18%, depending on some factors. Leniency on use of proceeds options. Term loans can support construction, remodeling, and more. Bank term loan general eligibility, have a minimum of 2 years time in business, be a U.S.-based business owner by a citizen or a lawful permanent resident, FICO of 660 or higher. And in a market like today, I would only assume it could be higher. Have no outstanding tax liens. Your minimum annual revenue requirement, $250K. Your business must not have bankruptcies or foreclosures in the last 3 years. No recent charge-offs or settlements. Your business must have appropriate cash to support local loan payments, so proper cash flow. Here's what the funds can be used for: general working capital, purchasing inventory, hiring employees, refinancing business debt, marketing, construction, or remodeling, business acquisition, partner buyout. Several common eligibility: startup financing, house flipping and or real estate investment, anything passive, refinancing personal debts, floor plan financing. Industries, you can see that I'm going to quickly go through these. Hair salon, sales, online retailer, ton accounting firm. There are many small businesses typically eligible. While most are ineligible, there are a few exceptions like gambling or real estate development. Restricted industries, general eligibility details. 2 years in business with corresponding tax returns is what you're going to need. For profit business, proceeds, working capital, debt refinance, equipment purchases. Minimal annual revenue requirement, $250K. Individuals owning 20% or more of the business must be U.S. citizen, legal permanent residents. Credit for individuals only 20%. You can see there, 616 above. Liquid credit 155 or greater. Public records search for business owners. No bankruptcy in the past 3 years. No foreclosures in the past 3 years. No open tax liens or outstanding judgments. Cash flow analysis, excuse me, we've gone on over time, is used for these documents: 2 years of business and personal tax returns, year-to-date profit and loss and balance sheet, business debt schedule, 6 most recent business bank statements. Now listen, guys, I am not going to go through this with you if you're going to just be submitting something and you just disappear. I can't tell you guys how many times this happens. Please don't do that. I usually set the expectations that there's more documentation, that even after you submit an initial amount with SBA, we might ask for loan projections. If there's another owner listed, are they still a part of the business? How about 2 years of financial projections showing us how you're going to use these? If you can't even go through all of that, why do you even put me in it? Like, you guys should know when I tell you guys that we put a lot of stuff and we put a lot of energy and time into these files that we're looking at. So please do things accordingly. Barriers to fund: declining revenue trends in borrowing business or affiliates. So if it's already in a decrease, if you're like this up and down, this isn't going to be best for you. If you're going upwards in revenue, yeah, it's better. We still have to look at more with cash flow. Unfiled tax returns, criminal records, businesses or guarantors that are mid-litigation, huge. Undisclosed debt, UCC lien, that's also a very huge one that a lot of people don't get approved for. GDSCR, global debt service coverage ratio, or business debt service coverage ratio is greater than 1.15 and or. So determined by business income and by business debt, GDSCR, determined by business income and debt, along with personal income / debt, both are required to determine if business can and independently service the business debt and individual can service of all their total debt. So it's kind of like an SBA loan in some ways, where we're not looking at revenue, we're looking at cash flow, we're looking at historical tax returns, etc. We conduct a soft credit pull that will not affect your credit score. However, in processing your loan application, the lenders with whom we will request your full credit report from, one or more consumer reporting agencies, which is considered a hard credit pull, and I have the best who can work with this with you, just so you know, protect your privacy, etc. A hard pull credit then happens after your application is in the funding process and match with the right lender or the lender that I take you directly if so, but in this market, it's better to do it this way. Underwriting guidelines, so you can get the most. Underwriting guidelines based on debt service or debt coverage analysis. Loan proceeds cannot be used to refinance a short-term obligation created with an intent of refinancing with the 7A loan. So that's huge, guys. This is a big reason why I don't want to get into all of these, because you cannot refinance those shorter term obligations, advances, etc. It just wouldn't always make sense. And in the intent of refinancing it with an SBA 7A loan, we calculate global cash flow for guarantors, recommended gross annual income of $250K. In a market like today, though, it could be a bit higher. So here, SBA 7A loan option, I go through as well. And I'm not going to cover all this. I'm going to speed through it, guys. I'm not going to go through this. I'll try to leave this document below, but I go into startups, non-startups. It might not make sense for you. Stronger credits, cash flow, credit, collateral. If collateral is not the main look, but they'll probably want to ask for it. Business plan under 2 years. I go through that. Documents that would be required. Now, business line of credit may or may not work. So I wouldn't always lead in with this. It's more conservative in this market. 400 to 500,000 in annual gross revenue. Higher, stronger credit than just 550 or 600. A lot of times they want 660, 675, 700 and above. 700 and above right now is what they want in a lot of cases. Disqualifications, possibly equipment financing, and I might have more options too than just these lines of credit, specifically if you fill out a questionnaire, but I'll show you the best one at the top. Equipment financing, then you have another equipment financing. I'll direct you to which one's best. Then we may have asset-backed funding here on which ones are best for you, which ones are not. Cash out refinance, great for construction businesses, especially for lowering their rates if they have that or want to do that. Personal business startup loan. So this is another one. This is one where it's credit-based. So you might need to get a credit partner. You might need to get a co-signer, I should say. You should get that, and or you have somebody who can take on debt with applying with their credit. So I go through all the qualifications, what's required, soft pull initially for pre-approval. If you go further on, once initial contracts are signed and all documents are collected, it's a hard pull to get you soft offers and to develop that into a hard offer, which then you can decide if you want to move forward with that. So it's much better that way. The origination fees and all of this included. You have other options for personal funding. I may tell you that's not the best one, so don't just apply to all of them, guys. Please don't do that. Can't tell you how many times, and then my lenders call me, and I'm like, wait, what? Like, I'm not keeping track of some of those because I know you're going through another service. Credit line hybrid option. until you have a 700 and above on all three consumer credit bureaus. We used to have 680, but again, the markets shift. So you guys got to be on top of this and got to go with somebody like myself so I can show you this. You don't have that, get a credit partner with at least 10% ownership in the business, or in other words, a guarantor if you need to. This is where you can liquidate the cash out of cards and use them as you choose. Put them on a balance transfer check, put them into an account, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what I recommend. That's the best way to go about it. We're going to close up here. I know we went way over time, but business credit cards, every one of you should be getting those. You guys should be getting the 0%. Raising your credit repair. What do you guys need to do to get that credit up? I would do that. You have another business partner who owns at least 10% of the business, because this is going on business. This is business credit, not personal. We're using your personal credit for the most time to get you approved. So I'll quickly speed through this, guys. I'm not going through all the qualifications. I'm kind of tired and on time. We're over, way over. But I'll leave this document. If not, fill out the questionnaire if you have already. And you're stalling, and there's no feedback. I've asked for it very politely. I haven't been hunting you down, but please don't be that person. And then SBA microloans, if any, SBA Community Advantage, if they work, if they not. Angel investors, equity crowdfunding, other options, other kind of crowdfunding, venture capitalists, VC funds, angel investor options, more of them. Other options, margin account, financial guarantee bond, fixing, increasing your FICO, credit repair. I have resources on that, and the best with that. Bonus, building business credit cards in case you want to see some of the content that I release. Home equity loan, home equity line of credit, 401k, IRA financing, what I recommend there. SBA add-on loan, latest updates, employee retention credit, where you can get up to $26,000 per employee. And conclusion, and employee retention credit, there are some, of course, there's qualifications of that, but conclusion, there are many other services as well for things like the SBA 7A CRE loans, other unsecured term loans, SBA options, and so forth, that I show you in other customized questionnaire solutions when you submit one. But these are what's best, and I wanted to pull from them and see what you guys were seeing. But it could be different. You might get an SBA loan lender where I go, they're not working with e-commerce right now anymore like they used to. It's much harder, but this lender over here will. So it's not in your best interest just to go on the website, sba.gov, and that's not what's best. Flexibility, credit committee, underwriting processes, you guys got to do it correctly. If you haven't filled out your questionnaire, please do so. And if you're specifically here for real estate or I have a real estate form as well. So let me move this over. We're going to close up here in just a second. Let me see if I can open up the right tab. Here it is. This is the last thing I want to show you. I'll go to the comments. I was going to give you guys some more on business credit cards, but I could do that over time. I have strategies on that. Let's see here. Okay. So this is the questionnaire. I'll leave it down below. Select one of the two options. It can look like this. I created all this, by the way. And then non-startup, if you are, then right here. And I say it up there. From a real business loan broker expert, please be serious and responsive. I don't want to be exhausted with you. I don't want to waste my energy and time. And I know some of you guys tell me up front, but at the same time, I'm like, you're trying to get answers out of me while I'm trying to ask you about something. You're avoiding the question, or it's going over. And I should have had this already filled out by then. This should have been done. I know how you guys feel about filling out things too. Well, I don't feel comfortable giving my information. It's scary. I get it. I've been there, done that. Absolutely. I'm one of the most trustworthy. No matter what I tell you, if this is your first time, well, I don't know. I can take your word on that. Let me show you. This is very protected, safe and secure, confidential. And sometimes I'll say, hey, so send me your email and I'll send you some of the options if it makes sense. But I'd rather you fill that out. I won't always do it that way. So fill out that questionnaire to your best ability. Be as accurate as you can. Give some estimates if possible. But here it could look like that. On the thank you page, it'll show you what to do and where to begin. Okay. Yes, it does. As we just went through, I'm not sure if you're still in here, but we went in through those startup options and those non-startup options and what's legit. So what I want to end with, guys, is please don't mess about with my energy and time. I'm very, that's a huge pet peeve of mine. Like, if you don't have that yourself, like you don't care about it enough, okay, but please, sincerely, please. I'm not going to get on my knees and beg, but please do not be that person. I can't tell you how many times I get people who tire kick We're just not tire kickers, but you don't have to necessarily be all together. But if you're like, Michael, I do lack these, or you don't tell me you do, it's just I see the effort you're putting in. That's more than enough. I'm not judging people. It's just when people just dig up and dig up and dig up, and we keep coming back to the same thing. I have people who are like, just give me a call, Michael, so we can. Where were you 4 months ago when I expected an answer from you? I've had people like that. I think I'm dumb. I'm not going to go through something like that if you're acting that way already. There's a recurring pattern. Why should I give you a call if you're asking me to call you about something we spoke about 4 to 5 months ago and you're just appearing now? Where have you been? 6 months, 7 months, even just 2 months, a week? And you expect me to do what? Like, I asked you for feedback. Like, how was that going? I already spoke with my lender. I already had spoken with my team internally on what to expect coming in. That's my reputation too. Oh, now you want me to give you a call out of the blue. I'm a very meticulous, cerebral person, guys. I'm not like everybody. I'm not a chase you walk into. And even then, you have to schedule appointments. A lot of times. Not the majority, but if you think for a second that I'm just giving everybody a call every single day, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. I would have been gone because it is not worth it. For me to get on a call with somebody, I have to see the questionnaire. I have to see what they have at least so that I can say, when I give them a response back via email, like you guys kind of saw in that document, but I'll personalize it and make it even better. Conclusion, roadmap, and everything. By that point, let me see. Did you read that email that I showed you? Michael, I just needed clarity. I saw that email. I saw the first option. That's what I think is best. Michael, they sent me an email. Hey, Michael, I saw the first two options. I think the first one is best. Would it be correct? Okay, yeah, great. All right, Michael, I just needed a call for quick clarity or just to go over a few things. Maybe I'll build a little bit more rapport with you. Great. That's what I love, the human element. Now to open up, it's hard as an introvert. You got to peel me back layer after layer. On the first one, you got to peel me back the skin. You know how sometimes it can be hard? You got to peel me back. I'm asking if I can trust you. But Michael, I run a $500,000 a month business, and who cannot trust me? Last part for the next couple minutes. Do you think my primary need or look is to say, hey, I need a business that's generating 500,000, or if you tell me, you can tell me you're doing 500,000, $1 million a month. Tell me you're doing 20,000, 30,000, 40,000. Okay, I care, but I care about the character. I care about who my sphere of influence is. I care about who I'm working with. As so you should. You should care about your employees. You know why people, construction businesses and all these other businesses lose employees? You pay them more for a skill set, and then they expect more out of you. They lack motivation. And then guess what? Well, I'm getting paid this much for my skill set. Why don't I go start my own general contracting business? Or why not go to do this? And It happens for a lot of businesses. So you're playing this tipping point where the reason why you're doing it all yourself is because if you paid somebody else to do it, it wouldn't get done or it wouldn't get done right. Or now you're having all these things bickering at your ears, and that's how 9 to 5 is. So you can't blame that person who wants to go start their job. Pay them what they're supposed to be paid. Even if it results in something like that. It's also your reputation. It's also what somebody else will say about you. And I get it. You don't want to lose people. You don't want to have to hire people. There's a lot of reasons for what you're trying to do. But don't for 1 second think that I'm not looking at the person's character. I'm not saying that I'm just dealing with people who are like up here. I'm dealing with people who are not, and I'm not rejecting people. What I'm saying is you leave that out the door. I'm not going through an application with you. You've already done this here. I could already imagine what it'll be like when we go through an application. And I don't need that. Sincerely, I'm not trying to be mean. I don't want to be that guy. I really don't. In this industry, I don't want to be that guy. I've had to be that guy. I don't want to be them. You don't want me to be that guy. I'm not that guy. My personality doesn't even fit this industry, if I'm being honest with you. I'm not going to be that loan shark talking in your ears or calling you, cold calling people. Dude, come on, get out of here with that. Would you want to be cold called? Would you want to just pick up a call from somebody? Heck no, I don't. If I do, Friday, end of the day, very good mood. I have a schedule open. Hello? I appreciate that, but I'm not interested. Thank you, though. Yeah, I'll make sure to save your number. Thank you. Bye. See how simple that is? And I normally don't pick up a phone like that or normally pick up a call when it comes in that way. People calling me, trying to send me Facebook Messenger chats on video call, and I'm like, what's maybe it's necessary and very necessary for me to do, but I'm very careful. And it has to make sense. So character matters, reputation matters. But if I had to choose the two, what I'd work on first, character. It's a self-reflection of you and your business. Character. That shows, that molds your business. So I can get to see what the application process would be with person A versus person B. Person A over here, who's an entrepreneur, who's got their business, has even multiple businesses, trains people underneath them. They don't even sell the products anymore. They have the people selling and doing it for them. And they're just training them. They're up here freeing up some time, kicking back a little bit, looking at their finances themselves with their CPA, whoever it is. They're seeing the product. They're overseeing things. They're not working in the business as much as they used to. With me and them, we meet eye to eye. We're the same person. And guess what? That person understands personal development. That person understands the mindset. They understand not to let themselves get in the way. They're very punctual and disciplined about their energy and time, like I am, if not more, if not less. They know how to verbalize, even though my words don't always come out because I speak Spanish and English, and sometimes in communication isn't my best thing. As in, this isn't what I went to school for. This isn't like I come from a mathematical, systematic mind. But best believe I'm going to break everything down better than the majority of people out there. So character, guys, please work on that. Read some books. I read every morning. In fact, I read about 3 to 4 books or so. Boom, split between them, and I get different ideas. I read for what I'm going to use today. I read for what I'm not going to use today. I'm going to read things like The Power of Awareness to make sure that I am again aware and I am who I am. And I am a creation of the man up above, and I am the man up above. That's the man who's seeing down and bestowing upon me, who's showing me and guiding me down the path in my faith. And for those who I physically can't see anymore in this world, I cherish and I'm very grateful for. But for those of you, again, who have a second thought of trying to take advantage of somebody or thinking that it's either your way or the highway and it doesn't work the way you think, and now we're going back and forth 20 damn times about something, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to do this anymore. And the number one thing that I would leave this industry for, if you guys haven't heard me say, I'm not trying to complain, guys. The thing is, I want you guys to understand this, because if you don't put yourself in my shoes, man. And so the reason why I would leave this industry, and I made a post of this to people that I train a huge amount. I'm up here. A lot of them are getting there or are there or probably higher. But what happens is a lot of the times it's the business owner who is unpredictable. I do lead generation. Those things are they're more predictable. The owner gets out of the way. I get them leads for their business. I do it this way, I do it that way. I'm free to do my thing. I'm free to use my skill sets without them getting in my way. With this, it's like here. Where's the feedback? Over there, I got a retainer. I got affiliate marketing businesses selling products, selling digital software, boom, etc. Done. But here, it's like the one thing that gets in the way of everybody is themselves. They self-sabotage, and it's so unpredictable with certain people. Not everybody, but I'm like, God dang. Like I could be the best at what I do, and I believe so to be. I could be the best character in the wrong field, but I could be the best at those in the right field, as well as do everything right correctly, and still not manage to help someone get an offer, because that person is making it much more difficult for me and my team. That's the reason why people also leave this industry, and that's why I would leave it. I wouldn't leave it because of the money. I wouldn't leave it because there's no impact. I love making impact. I love stimulating your guys' business through the economy. Through me, I'm able to help you in more ways than just getting business funding, personal development, lead generation. There's a lot more things that I can do. I'm a very in-depth person. But what I would leave the industry for, if it isn't those and many other reasons, it's because the business owner just is too unpredictable. There are many that are, and it just messes up things. You guys wouldn't believe it from this side. Doing things you shouldn't be doing, things that you should have been doing too, but you didn't do it. And again, like I said, I could be the best, most humble, loyal, knowing person of this industry on all of them. But at the end of the day, and it's not like all my energy or time wasn't used correctly. It's just now I'm waiting on that person. Now I'm waiting for this one to do this. They don't even fully commit. They partially committed. They backed out. They changed their mind. They wanted to do this. They wanted to do that. They wanted to do this. They had these demands that didn't get met. They sabotaged themselves here. Enough of that. Enough. Okay, everybody. I know we ended on that note, but on another one, please have a remainder of your week. Make it a good one. Please be at your best in business, outside of business, personally as well. There, keep achieving, keep fighting for those goals you want. Don't give up easily. Stay in there, be consistent, persistent, disciplined, punctual. Discipline is going to get you everywhere. Believe me. Believe me. And I run multiple businesses, guys. I'm very disciplined. Tonight I'll be working on one of them later. I'll be working on it. I have a few things to catch up on, to iterate a few things. So that's where I want to leave it. If you did get value, please give it a thumbs up. Share it with others who you feel will find value out of it. It can be a complete stranger, a friend, or a family member. Excuse me, had milk, had cereal, honey bunches of oats. And if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so and click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I'll be coming out with. Thank you all.